And welcome to a special edition on the ETBU Sportsnet. I'm Adam P. Ledyard, and this special edition is for our Twitter poll we're doing on Go ETBU Tigers. We're down to the championship round between the 2018 men's soccer team and the 2015 football team. Here today, we've got members of the 2018 team and former head coach Chris Crawford, players Travis Atkinson and Daniel Rudder. Welcome to our special edition here. So first of all, guys, we'll start with Coach Crawford and move around. Talk about that 2018 season and what it meant to you. You know, it was the first 10-win season for the school since 2005, the first postseason era win in the Division III era, and you guys upset a nationally ranked Texas Dallas at the end of the season. Just kind of talk about that season and what it meant to you.
Oh, I think that was a season that I think everyone was excited for. We had a pretty good season the year before. We had some key injuries and we had some guys that go down, but then we knew we had a great class coming in for that year. And so that summer, our guys really took the challenge that we set in the spring season and through the summer, and our freshmen coming in also we're excited about that year. And so our expectations for that year were really high. We had some hiccups along the way. We made some mental mistakes, as you would, some games that we didn't take advantage of, some games that we went in probably a little confident, a little cocky, as you would say, and didn't execute the way that we know we had. And that's where you look at that season for us. Middle of the season, I mean, we were 500 because we didn't take care of business the way that we practiced every day, the way that we executed, the way that we worked. And we kept telling the guys, I mean, our theme for that year was believe. And it was believing in each other, believing in our process, believing in what we do. And we knew that we had the pieces to do something special. And it took us a little bit to believe all the time. And so that year, we were able to peak at the right time. We were able to get hot at the right time, and everybody was able to kind of get into the system of where we fit, where they fit, and how we play. And so that was a special season for us, and something that we were excited about. Hoping we would start a little earlier in the year, maybe get us guys a little higher up in the ranking for the conference tournament and all that. But we got to play our best soccer at the end. And that's what you want before going to the conference tournament, being able to play your best right before it starts, where anything can happen.
Travis, tell us a little bit about that season and what it meant to you.
So I think going back from the beginning, we all came into ETBU together, and every year we grew the program. And Coach Crawford and Chad did a really great job of recruiting people that fit our system. And that 2018 season it was special. I mean, we had the right people. We got hot at the right time, like Crawford said. And, I mean, it was just amazing to be a part of, honestly.
Daniel, same thing. Tell us a little bit about that season and what it meant to you and the outcome of it.
It was an emotional season for me. Coming into it, I knew it was going to be my last year, so I wanted to go out with a bang. I tried to get everybody on the same page as me, selfishly and selflessly, to bring this program as far as I thought it could go. I thought we had a special group of guys. I thought we had a great staff that supported us day in and day out, off the field and on the field. We had things go on outside of soccer that impacted us, but I felt like every time that we took the field, we were brothers. And that's what makes the team special from the 2018 season. It's just how close-knit of a group that we were, picking each other up when we constantly fell down. And I think when I look back on my time at ETBU, I'm going to think of that team as my brothers forever. And the best thing that we can do from here is, I mean, we did it. We made a name for ourselves in that conference for our program. Something everybody looks at the soccer team from 10 years back and be like, oh, this is a joke. But we finally made a name for ourselves. And the best thing I can do is inspire a young recruit to say, hey, look, this 2018 team did really well. I think that I'm going to change my mind and come to ETBU and show this program what I've got. And that's the best thing that we can do. looking back on it now, because it feels like forever ago. 2018 feels like forever ago. I mean, especially with the pandemic that's going on and everything. I've been locked up, nothing but work and sitting at home. But when I got this invitation to come and do this Zoom meeting, I had to do some memory backtracking and some soul searching and to figure out what really made that team special. And bottom line, we were brothers. We were family.
That's awesome, man. Watching those games and seeing you guys do that, it was such a special season, and making that 6-match unbeaten streak happen. So the next question, I would like to see what you guys thought. Chris, you kind of hit on a little bit as a coach. In the middle of the season, you were 5-5-1, right there at 500. And then you had that tie with Ozarks to start the 6-match unbeaten streak. What kind of changed the attitude there in the middle of the season to kind of nudge the team forward to start that streak and head into the conference tournament?
I mean, if you look back at our team, and the guys down here with Travis and Brotherhood can probably agree. I mean, we were a very diverse group of guys with age. We had some great senior leadership. We had some great older guys. And then we had some great junior sophomores in there, and we had a really good freshman class come in. And we had several freshmen, probably 4 to 5, that were starting most games for us. And so they were young and wet behind the ears and just really trying to learn what our style was, what our philosophy was, what our intensity was. And so coming in there and throwing these guys in there with guys that are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, Travis's age 24, 25, whatever he was at that time. And so grandpa of the team. I mean, those guys coming in and being able to have confidence in themselves, trust themselves. And that's, if you look back and talk, and me and Chad, Coach Cox talk all the time still, it's being able to get these guys to trust what they've been doing their whole life. Just because they come in and they're a freshman or a sophomore or returning as a senior, to trust in themselves, believe in themselves. And that's why a lot of our philosophy went in that year, is our motto being believe. We wanted the guys to believe in themselves. And so that was kind of the turning point for us, because as they saw how good we were and we were able to break down the earlier games and that 5-5-1 record, you said, we were able to say, look, we were winning this game until we did this. We were winning this game until we abandoned our plan for that game, or we lost our composure, or we lost our intensity for those 10 minutes because we gave up a bad foul. And so doing that and showing the guys that, they were able to get that confidence. I think they were able to rally, as Daniel said, as brothers. They were able to rally together and say, hey, we are a force to be reckoned with. We do have the ability to go out and we can beat anybody on any given day. And they proved that and stuff like that. And so I think that was the big turning point for us, is the confidence got there with all of our guys, from our younger guys being able to believe in themselves, and our older guys being able to believe in those younger guys, going, this guy's going to give everything he's got, just like I'm going to give everything I've got.
Awesome. So with that, Travis and Daniel, you guys had a big 2-1 win over Texas Dallas there at the end of the season, just before the conference tournament. It was a weather game, so you guys had to play on turf in Shreveport. But that you guys came in and had a strong second half and knocked off the number 25 ranked Texas Dallas Commons. Talk about that and a little bit of that 6-match unbeaten streak and that momentum that helped you into the conference tournament, and what that win meant to you guys at that time of the year. Start with you, Travis.
I think that win showed us that we were supposed to be where we were that year. I mean, we could play with anybody, any given day. We showed the conference that we belonged in the conference tournament. I remember scoring that game. I scored a header, and I mean, the whole game we were going back and forth, and they got a goal. And I remember after that header, it just lifted the team spirits. I mean, it gave us so much momentum, and Silas scored, and it was an amazing feeling. Gave us a lot of momentum going into the conference tournament, going into the game against Ozarks. I mean, we just had that fire in us, and we were, like Daniel said, we were family, we were brothers, we would do anything for each other. We had that on the field and off the field, and it showed whenever it came to games.
Daniel, what do you think?
My turn. Well, ultimately, UTD was the team that knocked us out of the conference tournament. But going into that first game against them, they anticipated blowing us out 5-0. I mean, for years and years, they had done that. They had just consistently stepped all over us. When we showed up that day in Shreveport and played on that field, at the end of that 90 minutes, it wasn't ETBU is trash anymore. It was, whenever we face these guys, we got to treat them as a top-level threat, just like we would with other top programs in our conference. It was a wake-up call across the conference when that result got posted online, when people watched the game highlights of that game. It was an amazing feeling for me, because I can remember the small little conversations after the game with players of the opposing team and the coaches on that opposing staff. There's a start point, and there's little points that you can look at on a program's history and say, okay, this is where the turnaround happened. And if I had to narrow it down to one, probably that one. Yes, we did make the conference tournament that year. Yes, we did win our first game in post-conference history. But that point was the point that everybody started taking ETBU seriously. We believed in ourselves, but other people looking on now had that same belief and same mindset that ETBU soccer can be something to be reckoned with. Actually, Silas put the goal in the back of the net with what was it, 30 seconds left, Coach Travis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the emotions through the roof. As soon as that happened, we're like, okay, we got this, and we are going to the conference tournament after all.
So, couple questions to finish out the interview here. First, all three of you can answer all of them. Starting with you, Coach. The win at home over Ozarks, that first postseason win. Talk about that game, that feeling, seeing Silas Sangano score that goal and the 1-0 win, and what that meant to all of you. We'll start with Coach Crawford.
Yeah, I think going into that game, I was heated. I think we had a long conversation with the guys, because in my tenure of coaching there, we always tied Ozarks every year. It was a consistent tie, and that was the message sent to our guys. Okay, we were up 3-1 in regular season with them, and now we got to face them at home for the conference tournament and to go forward. And so we had the bitter taste in our mouth from that first game, being up 3-1 and letting them come back and tie. And so that going into that game with Ozarks, knowing that we're going to host on our field, we kind of lit that fire with the guys saying, hey, this is about to get intense. We get to have home field advantage. We play really well at home. We know everything about here. It's going to be loud. It's going to be packed. And it's going to be something that we will never forget. And so we're going to take full advantage of it. And we talked about what it's going to take. It's going to be, we're going to get their best. They better get our best for 90 minutes or 120. And so we were prepared for that. I think our guys were very much prepared for that day. They were excited about it all day. I had guys in and out of my office all day long going, Coach, I'm ready. Coach, I'm ready. Coach, I can't wait. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. And just trying to keep them calm and in a normal routine with classes, with lunch, with our pregame meetings, with our pregame treatments and all that. Just trying to keep them away from everything else, because they were fired up, and it was 8 o'clock in the morning. They're ready to go. And I'm like, man, we got all day. Y'all got to keep this bottled in. We got a lot. This is not the last rodeo. We got more after this, but we got to make it through today. And so being able to host that, I think one of the biggest things, looking back at that game, that I remember the most, I know it was packed. And I know Rudder set this great pick for Silas being able to run down the side and get that goal. And I remember it so much, and just the run to the corner flag, and where they got the dog pile and loving each other. But it was at the end of the game. We're seeing these fans jumping the fence, running onto the field, wanting to bull rush and hug and love each other, and just these guys exhausted, because physically, emotionally, mentally exhausted. And they couldn't pick anybody up. They were just on the ground, hug me, please, hold me, please, water, please, trainer, please, because they did give everything that they had for themselves and for this program. And so looking back, I'll never forget that day.
Travis, what went through your mind of the game and the win?
Looking back at that game, Crawford said at the end of it, we were exhausted. That was one of the toughest games I think I've ever played, physically, mentally. I mean, looking back on the tie, we were up 3-1 and they came back. So when we scored that goal, it was in the back of my mind, we can't let them come back. But physicality, they were probably a little more physical than us, and our guys stayed with them. I mean, we held out. After the game, I don't remember. I remember dogpiling Silas. I remember hugging just about everybody. It was an amazing experience. I mean, I'll remember it forever.
Hunter, what were you thinking during that game?
I was thinking in that game is I felt exhausted before the game even started. Crawford talked about mental fatigue. I had it. Stressed out, the weight of the game, stressed out with school and everything else going on. I was tired. When that whistle blew, I had my X factor, second wind, whatever you want to call it. I had the energy, and I looked around and I saw the guys were trying as hard as they could, and that just drove me further. Seeing everybody working hard around you makes you want to keep going. And we were an engine firing on all cylinders in that game. Those guys, like Travis said, probably in a physical matchup, were a little bit more athletic than us, but we had the belief, we had the skill set to dismantle them. And the only thing I can say about that end of the game is I'm so thankful for Gatorade and bananas. To refuel back up and Coach said it whenever we were playing is bonus soccer. It's one game at a time. We get one game to keep going, and that's all you can think about is one game at a time. Mm-hmm. Yes, we were nervous, but all we look at was the 90 minutes ahead of us. And if we took care of business then, we'd be guaranteed another 90 minutes and another 90 minutes.
One final question. Everybody hit on this. Talk about the Brotherhood, what it meant to you, and what the men's program has been shaped into from what you guys started there. Coach Crawford, when you first came, and your vision of that and where it's at now and how you got it there. And just talk about the Brotherhood and where the program is going and what you guys went through and what it meant to you. Start with you, Coach.
Yeah, I think Coach Cox, me and him sat down when I first got hired. And having him, who was an alumni of the university, played for the university, and had such a great just love for the university, we were able to talk about what we wanted this program to be, what we wanted to represent, what our philosophy was. It was the first year that we got our locker room built for us. And so we were able to handpick everything that went into our locker room, from the lockers to the letters on the wall, to the verse on the wall, to the logos. And we were able to just really say, we want our program to be more than just, hey, we're going to do this on the field. We want to be this off the field. We want to be this in the classroom. We want to be this as a group of believers. And we want to be able to have guys that come in and say, we want to do more than just soccer. We want to be able to have a family, have a brotherhood, have someone that we can say in 20 years, man, y'all remember that game back 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and just the times that we did off the field, on the field, the things that we had. And so there's lots of funny stories that these two guys aren't going to share when they go next. Because as a family, some of those Brotherhood stays as a family with the hotel trips and the bus rides and all those kind of things, or the pillow fights or whatever else may have happened. Those things stay as and every year it's different because it's a different group. And so Brotherhood was one of our things. Brotherhood was one of our mottos: unity, family, and just dedication. And so these guys, they bought into that, and they teached it every year. We taught it as a coaching staff. We went through it with our core values and what we believed in and what we wanted what we wanted them to believe in and buy into, because it's easy to say we're going to buy into playing soccer. We were much bigger than soccer. We had a closer bond than just on the field from as much time. And we spent a lot of time together. And so being a coach, you spend more of the time with them than you do your family at times with everything that goes on. And so being able to have that family and have that bond and have that love for each other, but also that love for the sport that we play, it's unmatched by anything else.
Travis, talk a little bit about what the Brotherhood meant to you.
I think from the beginning with Crawford and Chad, when they came in, they focused on team bonding and made sure we didn't leave anyone out on the team. And I think that carried over into our activities off the field. Every time we had a team dinner, everyone was invited. Every time we went to the movies or went and played putt-putt, everybody was invited. And it was almost like you weren't invited, you had to come. If you were on the team, we wanted you there. It was mandatory. And us older guys, we made sure everyone was there hanging out, having a good time. I mean, some of these guys, if I needed something today, I could call them up and they'd be there however long it took to drive where I am. I mean, I'll be friends with these guys for the rest of my life. And we may not talk every day, but if I needed them and I would call them up and they'd be there. That's family, that's brotherhood.
Daniel, talk a little about what you touched on it a little bit earlier, but what does it mean to you?
Well, there's a lot of things you take for granted as a 19 or 20-year-old. And then you look back on it, 23, 24, you realize in those moments how precious they were and how precious the relationships were. I walked into that program, what was that, 19 or 20? Had to have been 20 years old. And I just thought, look, I'm going to come here, I'm going to play soccer. I'll hang out with the guys if I want to, do whatever, but I'll just play soccer. And then junior year comes along, senior year comes along, and I look back on it and I'm like, man, these are the guys that I've sweated with, bled with, cried with, poured every emotion out of me into them. I went through so many things during my 3 years that I was at ETBU, and those guys picked me up every single time. I'm forever grateful for the relationships that I have, and I'm forever indebted to those people. I mean, there's times that I talk to Crawford just about hunting. Like, he goes out on hunting trips, and I'm like, oh my gosh, when are you going to invite me along? Like, when are you going to let me bag one of these white-tailed deer that you're getting in Texas, you know? But it's hard as a man to open up to other men. You know, when you've become humble, when you humble yourself enough to talk to these people who aren't family, but who have become family because they've shared their stories with you, they've shared their hardships, and vice versa. I've shared everything that has gone on in my personal life with these guys, and they've picked me up from my lowest lows. I'll reverberate it. I am forever indebted to the two guys that I'm seeing right now below me on this screen. And I wish more than anything that I had more time to get the opportunity to just be in the same room as them. I would trade a lot of things for that because of what they did for me while I was there with them.
Well, thanks for sharing all that, guys. Want to wish you good luck on this Twitter poll on Go ETBU Tigers. Spread it out to your family, friends. It's going to be an exciting 24 hours of voting starting today at 5 o'clock on this Friday. But I want to thank you all for taking time out of your day during this quarantine season that we're in right now to talk the 2018 season and that special season that was. Thanks for talking to us. Remember, go vote at Go ETBU Tigers on Twitter. Thanks for being with us today, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.